challenges of choking. Pav would be absolutely hating this because he's such a proud player and had played a fantastic game, and yet...
he didn't play a fantastic game, Gerard.
He played a pretty good game.
No, he played an average game.
Must have been a different game than
Aspects of his game he's got to get better at, Gerard.
No, Gerard, I think that's... I saw him get votes everywhere. He didn't deserve them. He had 5 possessions to half-time, one of which was before they bounced the ball, it was a gift. He should be a superstar, Pav, and he should have kicked that goal.
So what does he need to improve on?
Well, I think he's just got to be more like... I mean, and it's difficult when you compare him. I was going to say Jonathan Brown, because I had him as the best player in the competition, but he just needs to do more things to impose himself when the game's in the balance.
I agree. Look, it's a tough call, but he's had 2 shots to win the game this year. He's hit the post on both occasions. I think the game against Geelong earlier in the season.
It was a tougher shot.
To me, he didn't have a tackle on the weekend, Gerard. Not a tackle in a round where tackling was right at the forefront, the importance of it.
Wallsy, time to tackle you. You've been under the microscope by a couple of your colleagues in the press, and the On the Couch interview with Mark Harvey reared its head again with this interview with Mark Robinson of the Herald Sun. He says there's a school of thought that Robert Walls is going for you. That's Mark Harvey, and people have wondered whether or not it's because of his volatile relationship with Kevin Sheedy and that you're a product of Sheedy. And he went on in that article to point out that you had a crack at Bomber Thompson last year as well.
Well, we did that interview 3 weeks ago with Mark Harvey, and there were some tough questions asked, and I think the questions were quite fair. Mark Harvey has no problem with the interview. Robert Shaw, football manager at Fremantle, has no problem with the interview. I think Mark let himself down by not being prepared for the questions that came his way.
Mark Harvey, yeah.
Mark Harvey. And Kevin Sheedy, the day or two later, wrote that as a coach, you should anticipate 85% of the questions that'll come to you. I don't think Mark did that. The journalist who wrote that, lazy to do a question and answer. I think
that's not fair to say that.
Well, it's my opinion.
No, but it's not...
It's my opinion that
Q&A
any journo...
is a form of interview.
Well, that's your opinion. My opinion is that any journo who does a Q&A is having a lazy week. He's an Essendon supporter, and I think he was pretty happy to build up his points with his Essendon mates. The fact to suggest that I would have a go at Mark Harvey because he's from the Kevin Sheedy school, that's just nonsense. He hasn't done his homework. Like, Sheedy and I were very strong rivals as players and coaches.
Yep.
We are neighbours. We've been in each other's homes, invited each other into each other's homes. I've dined with him several times in the last couple of years. I know his wife and kids really well.
There is a history, though, isn't there?
There is a history of on-field stuff.
But and off-field. I mean, we sat here one night on the couch and there was clear hostility between the two of you.
Yes, that's a football issue. But on a personal issue of off-field stuff, I would say that people have the wrong perception. And I just don't think he's done his homework on that. And, you know, I regard that as an insult, to suggest that I would have a go at Mark Harvey because he's come out of the Essendon camp.
What about your relationship with Ross Lyon? I guess we might as well get all the linen out, the dirty linen from Linen House Oval out in the air. There's a school of thought he's gone for you and not, for example, said much about Ross Lyon because he's helped select Lyon as coach of St Kilda, or Matty Knights because he's coached him. It's pretty personal stuff.
Yeah, and I think he's wrong again. Again, if he's done his homework, I've been very vocal about St Kilda this year.
No, I don't agree with that.
Have you heard me say Riewoldt should play as a winger?
Yes, but...
Were you here last week when I suggested that they haven't introduced enough young players?
Yep.
Yeah,
and I'm the only journo who brought that up this year, that they haven't introduced young players into that team.
Well, apart from that, well, that's not a point scoring thing.
I highlighted
but you say not doing his homework. I mean, there is a perception...
I have criticised the Saints about not having midfield goal kickers, and I've criticised the Saints about not playing bold play on football.
But there is... that's more recently. That's only in the last couple of weeks. There is a perception, though, Wallsy, that you were soft on Ross Lyon when we had him on the couch.
Oh, is there? That's the first time you've ever mentioned that to me.
Well, I mean,
that's the first time that you've ever mentioned that to me.
I'm not going to run and tell tales to you. I mean, I'm saying to you there is a perception...
We talk after the show. You never said anything to me then. You usually say this was good, that wasn't so good.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to critique you in the green room after. I'm saying there is a perception that you are softer on people that you have a professional interest in, and you were on the panel that appointed Ross Lyon to the St Kilda Footy Club.
I was on that panel. I was also on the Rodney Eade panel.
Correct.
I've also been involved with a couple of other coaches who are currently coaching.
I asked you Saturday, do you think in retrospect that you're compromised having sat on panels and appointed coaches and then have to deal with them as a critic?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
Because
Would you do it again?
I've just given you 4 examples of how I've criticised the Saints this year. And let me also say this, I think with the situation that St Kilda's in, and they're in a battling situation at the moment, my faith in Ross Lyon as being their coach in their current situation is stronger than it's ever been.
Well, how can you say that?
Because I think all of us thought that this team, this group of players, was better than what they've shown.